Michael G. Davis, broker, CEO, Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. I'm here again. I'm excited about another Create Your New Life. We do it on Tuesdays, our Create Your New Life business meeting, coaching session. I'm so excited about today and what we have in store for today. So welcome. All right, so we are continuing in with our series around negotiations, how to split the difference by Chris Voss. Definitely want to say thank you for those that are checking us out. Maybe you're looking at us on our YouTube channel. Maybe somebody sent you this video, and if they did, you need to pay them $4 million because what you're going to get today is priceless. So you need to get de-quarantine, right? But welcome to the show. Thank you for visiting. If you hear something that you like, I'm going to be showing you a link that you can be a part of on setting up a online or in-person meeting with us. So we'll get that up there for you to see as well. At any point, our agents, when they get on board, they can speak with us, they can talk, they can get questions answered. So that's what this is all about. So let me go ahead and jump into how I typically start our sessions, just giving people an opportunity to see where we can be found. So we have a Facebook page, a business page, and we have our YouTube. We're on YouTube, so you can definitely go there and subscribe. LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. So on all of those areas of social media, we can be found. We post content multiple times a week. Great content. We're always out here finding out new stuff, new information that can be presented. And those are the avenues that we send it to. So if you want to learn, follow, learn what we have to offer and share it to those that you love and that you know about. Okay. I said I was going to be showing a link. So if you hear something as we go through our meeting today and as we go through our training, if there's something that stands out to you, if there is some, you need the more nurturing than what you're already receiving. If you're licensed already and you wish you had more nurturing from your broker, if you are thinking about getting a license and you want to be connected with the company that can clearly deliver on the things that's spoken about today, then go to that link. I encourage you to go to that link and oh, I'm not sharing my screen. Well, I need to get it together. All right, let me get it together. See, I didn't have nobody on here to tell me that I wasn't sharing my screen. All right, so that's the first screen. But now I have Margaret. What's up, Margaret? Margaret in the building. All right. Okay. Let me shake it off. Get it together. All right. Now y'all can see my screen. These are the social media platforms that I was talking about earlier that you can go to at least a couple of times a week. We post information on these platforms, on our YouTube, on our Facebook, Twitter. So I highly encourage you to get access to the information that we're gonna post every week. Great information, you can learn from it and share it. All right, here's the link that I was talking to y'all about, but I wasn't showing you. But here's the link. Again, as you spend time with us today, if you just want to learn more about our brokerage firm and the items that we offer, you want to hear more about the one-on-one coaching that is included with being an agent member of our firm. If you just want to meet me and talk to me, look, click on that link. Let's schedule introduction. It can be done online or it can be done in person. All right. Another thing that I like to start our sessions off with is the fact that we offer an hour of continuing education credit. So, you know, it's just 4 criteria that has to be satisfied. And once that's satisfied, our agents are able to take advantage of getting an hour of elective credit for the time that they spend with our Create Your New Life, which is something that we do on a very consistent basis. So we always start off with those 3 items. Okay, Margaret knows this. At any moment she can begin. If she has questions, she can stop me. These sessions aren't just about me talking, although, you know, I will run my mouth, but that's not what they're designed about. So today, our title is How to Find Out the Critically Important Details in a Negotiation. So now, hear me out. How do you find out the critically important details in a negotiation that you don't know? Like, how do you find out something you don't know? How do you find out an unknown, like something that you don't even know that you need to know? How do you find that out? I'm glad you asked, because that is what we're going to be talking about today. All right, looks like we got LaTanya. What's up, LaTanya Falls? She's in the building with us as well. Let me change my screen so I can see everybody. Boom. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about creating breakthroughs, revealing unknowns. We're also going to be talking about the biggest mountain that Brooks and Davis has to climb right now. And we're going to be talking about how our realtors can receive CE credit, right? I kind of gave you a glimpse of it, but I didn't give you the whole kit and caboodle. So we'll make sure that we give the whole kit and caboodle. Let's see. We'll give the whole kit and caboodle a little later. All righty. So let me see something. See, I should have made. There's one adjustment I need to make on my presentation. Let me do that. All right, I had to make a quick adjustment on the presentation. All right, so we're going to do that, talk about the biggest mountain we have to climb up in an upcoming webinar. We're going to talk about it. We talked about it last week, but we're going to talk about it again this week. So be prepared because we are going to talk about it. All right, so now the quote that we have attached to our description is the bargain that yields mutual satisfaction is the only one that is apt to be repeated. All right, so that's our quote that I felt resonated with what we're going to be dealing with on today. Now, this quote is from BC Forbes. BC Forbes is the founder of Forbes magazine. Typically what I do is I go to Wikipedia and I check out some of this stuff that he talks about here. But he was a Scottish-born American financial journalist and the author, and he founded Forbes magazine. So BC Forbes, Bertie Charles Forbes, I bet y'all didn't even know that's what that man's name was born in the late 1800s, lived to the middle 1900s. And he's the one, finance guy, that says the bargain that yields mutual satisfaction is the only one that is apt to be repeated over and over again. So what does that mean in a negotiation, Michael G. Davis? Well, what that means in a negotiation is that negotiation is not about winning. It's not about losing. If you guys haven't gotten anything else from what I've said thus far around it, it has to be that It's not about winning or losing or getting the best deal, the biggest deal. Negotiation is about agreement, getting to an agreement, right? And just like BC says, mutual satisfaction, obtaining mutual satisfaction out of the agreement is the only thing that ensures that it will be repeated over and over and over again. So at the end of the day, in a negotiation, when it comes to agreement, what you're really looking for and what we're really saying is the same thing that BC Forbes said. We're looking for mutual satisfaction out of it all at the end of the day. And that right there is something that will have sustainability. It'll have lasting power. That's what we're looking for. All right? So that's our quote for today. Thank you, Mr. Forbes, and thank you for your magazine. Okay. Now, we always spend time in our moment in core, our core ideology. Our core ideology is made up of 3 distinct things. It's made up of our core and our core values. So today we're going to be talking about our core goal. We call it our big, hairy, audacious goal. I actually just got updated information about this goal today from our research and development library. So our goal is to be the #1 real estate company in the state in production and profitability by, ain't no date on there, but that's what our goal is, to be the #1 real estate company in the state in production and profitability. And right now, the #1 real estate firm in the state is Keller Williams Realty Gold Management. I don't know how many years they've been in business. Don't know that. But I do know they have 14 offices, over 4,800 agents. Their production in 2019 was about a little less than $10 billion. Right now, they're the #8 of all real estate companies in the United States. A total amount of 33,000 transactions. So for us to be the #1 real estate company in Texas, these are the numbers that we have to compete with, right? So now I still have the Martha Turner Sotheby's International, but I need to update this information because I believe there's a different Houston-based company. Actually, it's Keller Williams Memorial is the Houston-based company now that has supplanted Martha Turner Sotheby's International as the #1 firm in our Metroplex. So I'll update that information. Because I just got, this was hot off the press. I just got yesterday and I didn't have a chance to update my slides. But I prepared for these Create Your New Lives weeks in advance. So the next time this comes around, because you know it will, because we're always looking at our core ideology, that information will be updated. But the takeaway is this. We have a humongous goal, a humongous mountain that we're going after, that we're attacking. And every day that we wake up and everything that we do is built around us achieving that thing. And that thing for us, that goal, that big, hairy, audacious goal for us is that we want to be #1 in the state in production and profitability. And we know now, or we've always known, what we have to achieve, the kind of results we have to achieve to have that. This is what makes me want to get out of the bed every day. That's right, I said it. Makes me want to get out of the bed to be #1. All right. So now, the next thing we typically go into is our production, how the company has performed for the week. Look at some, congratulate some agents that have added new production to the board. We want to give a shout out to Ms. Jessica Joseph that got some new production on the board. Congratulations to Jess. I also want to give a shout out to LaKendra Kaufman for her production that she's added to the board. So all this mess that y'all hearing about Corona this, Corona that, there's people out here still getting stuff under contract. So get off your butts. Get out there and get it in. We are not going to feel sorry for you. We are not. Because people still going to buy houses. People still gonna sell houses. You just need to decide if you gonna be participating in it or not. That's all we're gonna do. So congratulations to Jess. Congratulations to Kendra for getting out there and getting it in. All right, so here's our, this is what we're looking like right now, a little less than 2.5 million. So we want to get, you know, as y'all can see, we're consistently around at 2.5, 2.3 million. As stuff gets closed, as stuff gets added. So I want that number, I want to transform that number to 5 million. I want us to be consistently between around 4.8, 5.2 million. That's where we're going right now, where I want us to be as far as production at any given time throughout our organization, right? So that's where I want us to get to. Our top three, LaKendra, I mean, she added some stuff last week and this week, and now that's catapulted her to that #1 spot. So congratulations, LaKendra Kaufman, broker of the 5-star team, representing for her team. And then we got Sydney Ely and Merle Davis rounding it out. Well, my fellas tend to get knocked off the board. So I need to get my fellas to go ahead and pick it back up. Matter of fact, I don't think I got any fellas on the board. My fellas ain't got nothing under contract, man. We're going to have us a man powwow. What is going on, guys? But again, congratulations, ladies, out there continuing to put in the work, and reaping the benefits and the rewards of doing it. Congratulations, everybody. Okay. Also want to welcome, we signed on a new affiliate. Matter of fact, she's an oldie but newie, I guess. She was with us before. She signed on with us as an agent. Yeah, Margaret, I said it, an oldie but newie is what she is. Now I'm finna explain what that means, Margaret. Don't be shaking your head. I'm about to explain it. All right. So she was with us before. She's a past agent member of Brooks Davis Real Estate Firm, but she was out of real estate for a couple of years, and now with the new requirements from TREC, she's now going to have to take her her exam again. So she signed on as an affiliate until she passed the exam and everything's cool. So Ms. Rhodesia Hopkins, we want to welcome her back to the family in our affiliate member program. And we're going to support her, encourage her, and inspire her to go ahead and get through it so she can get back in the game and do great things like she was doing when she was with us once before. So welcome, Rhodesia. Also, I want to, I guess, expose our affiliates. Since I'm talking about our affiliates, I got an email from the Texas Real Estate Commission that the licensing exam sites are reopening. So I know there was a couple of affiliates that had their test dates scheduled, and then in March, all the testing sites abruptly shut down due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, just like in other areas, the licensing sites are opening. Now, they haven't given us a date on when that's going to be done. What they're recommending that the affiliates do is that they go to View's website. So that's pearsonvue.com, PEARSONVUE.com, to check the test center availability. So if I was one of those affiliates that out of the way, get it passed, go to that website now and find out when they are going to open up the testing sites. So, and I know I'm personally going to be reaching out to those affiliates that I knew was right at the cusp of doing it to make sure that they get this information. But spread the word. If you know of anybody else that is looking to get their real estate license and they got held up because of the testing centers being closed, they are reopening. They have sent information out to everybody about that. So spread the word. And congratulations, Rhodesia. All right. Righty. Okay. So, you know what's next. Y'all know what's next. Proprietary programming time. So we're going to jump into you know, every session we like to highlight one of the proprietary programs that we offer at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. And the one that I want to showcase today or highlight today is our Create Your New Life. Yes, that is the one that I want to showcase today. And again, the reason that I want to showcase it, number one, you're a part of it, right? But like I said earlier, not only does our Create Your New Life give an opportunity for our agents to remain connected, not having to show up to the office, in-office training meetings. Like, we know that the world is just evolving past that to where we got to be in the same room. We got to be in the same place, right? The world is just evolving past that, right? And COVID-19 didn't make it no better. So the Create Your New Life with the digital format, you know, this is something that we've been doing for the last 4 years. So we kind of got on that wave before it even was needed. And I'm glad that we were able to be innovative the way we were so long ago and be on the meetings and engaging and staying connected with our agents this way. So the Create Your New Life was, in essence, in the forefront of digital engagement. So this, you know, and we, again, enhanced it. Like, we took it from just, all right, it's an opportunity to connect, it's an opportunity to learn and get trained, right? We've been recording our sessions to create a library of content that can be looked at forever, right? Once it gets on the internet, it'll be there forever. So we've created that as well. We added now you can get your collective education credit. So we've added that part of it to it as well. So the Create Your New Life business meeting and coaching session, right? Because it also allows some one-on-one time after the meeting is over with. Do some one-on-one coaching with the agents if they have anything in particular or specific that they want to get addressed. That would be good for everyone to see. You know, that's a part of it as well. So, you know, this is just one of the many things that we, as a brokerage firm, what you're experiencing, what you're seeing right now, whether on our YouTube channel, whether it's been emailed to you, whether you're actually an agent that's on board with us right now, what you're experiencing and taking part of right now is a very valuable tool and resource, and it's really helped grow our company and our organization. So I highly encourage our agents to take advantage of the accessibility that they have, the information that we're putting out on it, as well as the free so the Create Your New Life, and also it was voted one of the top 5 proprietary programs that we offer here at the firm. It was voted that as well. So it's not just me talking, our agents say it. So again, if you're watching this and you're not, you know, you're with another brokerage firm and you can see value in being able to have access and be exposed to a program like this, I highly encourage you, when I show that link again, because I'm going to show it a little later, set up your online or in-person company introduction so you can learn more about our better options. All right, Margaret, guess what? We are going to talk about the discussion again. All right, I want you to tell the people, Margaret, tell the people why they should come to this event. I want you to tell them again.
Okay, well, it's not your normal event. It's an experience, and it's an experience around the need of home ownership, debt elimination, and asset protection. So those are all terms that we all know, and we all know we need these desperately, but we're going to be presenting it in a new way. Hopefully it'll keep people's attention. Well, I know it will, because it's new and y'all it's an experience. So I don't want to spill too much of it, but you're going to learn and you're going to be entertained.
So what's important about somebody going to this participating in this event? Because they don't have to go; it's actually on the computer. What's important? Why is it valuable?
Well, it's valuable because it will help with your legacy, which starts with home ownership. You get out of that renting rat race. You learn how to protect what you do acquire, and you learn how to get out of debt, pay off student loans that many of us may have. So that's the important part. And the fun part is the way it's delivered to you. So you're getting valuable information in a way that's really easy to go down, like when you're taking some sugar with your medicine, or you put it in some juice, or when you wrap your dog's medicine up in some cheese, and that makes him, he tastes it better. So it's a good way to get your medicine.
Good way to get your medicine. All right. So would you say that if somebody attended this or participated, that it could be life-changing for them, Margaret?
Oh, most definitely, yes. You're getting a blueprint. You're getting plans set out for you after you see it, and you're gonna say, hey, I need to change my life, and this is the way I can do it. And you're gonna have assets and resources there to help you with that.
Awesome. All right. So Margaret, they go to this link. How they reserve this spot?
You go to the link at the side. Is it on the side? Yes. You sign up. When you'll receive an email of the login information when it comes time. And then you just get you a glass of wine and a notepad and a pen and get ready to be entertained and take some good notes.
And get your mind blown, huh, Margaret?
Right.
Phenomenal. All right, awesome. All right, well, thanks, Margaret. Thanks for sharing again this week. And we'll probably do it because it's May 12th, so we may see if we'll do it a couple more times before the actual event. Okay. I'm really excited about it. I've seen it, and I do agree with Margaret that it is going to be life-changing for those that participate. Okay. All right. So with that out of the way, it's time to get into our training. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So before I jump into it, I want to do a quick. Latanya, what's up, Latanya? Say something, girl. We want to hear you. Yes, your mic on. You didn't think we could hear you? We can hear you. We can hear you, Latanya. We know you there. Let's see. All right, so before I get started, I wanted to, periodically I will remind you all of how to get to the show notes. Remember, I don't go through everything in our talks, so being able to know how to get to the show notes, I believe, is key. So if you go to your 7.training folder, you go to your 7.training folder, then you'll see this. Click on Create Your New Life, Real Estate Training. So this is the long way. I'm going to show you the long way, and then I'm going to show you the shortcut. 7.training. 2020 is here. So these are all of our 2020 Create Your New Lives. Click on 2020 here. And then you'll see the date. So it's May 8th, so that falls in line here. You click on that. And then today is episode 135. You can tell that by seeing the title. Look in that folder. And boom, there you show notes. All right, so that was the hard way, a complicated way to get to them. The easy way is, since the 7.training is in your Google Drive, if you go into the search bar, you type in EP. Now, it's going to give you the most recent one. But once you type in EP and the episode number, then it's going to give you the folder. So that's you know, that was last week. That was 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So all you got to do is EP and the number of the episode. So this is today's. It'll give you the folder. You click on it and get everything, or you type in EP 135. It'll give you the folder, the presentation, and the notes. So you don't even have to go into the folder if you want. Right? So I wanted to show you that. So again, I encourage you, if you know, I'm not going through every single thing that I've typed up. So that's great information, great clip notes as far as what we've discussed thus far. All right, so we're in the last chapter, right? So these are our last 2 sessions. We're doing chapter 10 today, and then next week we're going to do a recap. We're going to go over this thing called a one sheet, and then that'll be it. Our 10-part series will be complete after last week. I'm sad. I'm so sad that it's going away. But I'm excited about what's coming. What's coming is we're going to take a deep dive into social media, how to become a social media beast with strategy. We're going to talk strategy, right? It's going to talk, you need to be on social media. We're going to talk, here's the strategy, an effective, proven strategy to implement. We're going to break it down. I'm excited about that. So that'll be our next
we can implement?
Absolutely, Margaret. Absolutely. You know that's all we do around here. Stuff that you can implement. We ain't just about talking. It's about you taking action.
I need to get better at social media.
Well, put on your seatbelt, because next week, in a couple of weeks, it's gonna be crazy. All right, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's go ahead and jump back into Never Split the Difference. So chapter 10 is called Find the Black Swan, how to create breakthroughs by revealing the unknown unknowns. So one of the first areas in that chapter, it talks about finding leverage and unpredictability. And what Chris talks about is, he calls it Black Swan theory. Now, Black Swan theory, it tells us that things happen that were previously thought to be impossible or never thought of at all. This is not the same as saying that sometimes things happen against 1 in a million odds, but rather that things never imagined do come to pass, right? So now, the reason that it came from, the reason they used the term Black Swan is because there was a moment in history where the only swans that everybody ever saw were white swans, right? So back then, during society, they would use the term Black Swan to represent something that was impossible, that did not exist. It was a term, a black swan, because no one had ever seen a black swan until they did. So then, all of a sudden, someone saw a black swan. So now, you can no longer use the term to describe something that hasn't ever existed. So now, the term evolved to mean something that was previously thought to not have existed, but really did, and nobody knew it was there. It's that unknown unknown. So that's what a black swan, and that's what Black Swan theory tells us. It's things that were previously thought to be impossible or never thought of existing, and being able to unearth those. So that's what Chris talks about in this chapter. And I'm gonna go slow with this one because this is heavy. This chapter is a heavy chapter, right? If you see some of the other stuff that we've gone through and we've discussed in the previous 9 chapters has been heavy, this by far is the heaviest. So you gotta take, if you are reading a book, you want to take your time. It's probably going to take you a couple of times going through this one, through this chapter. Right here? I'm being disturbed, y'all. Don't worry about it. So, all right. So let's jump into it. So now, what Chris says, in every negotiating session, there are different kinds of information. There are those things we know, right? So they're the knowns, things like the counterpart's name, their offer, experience from other negotiations. Like, these are things that we know going into it, right? And we're going to go in a little bit more detail next week with the one page. You know, we're also, as you prepare for the negotiation, you come into it with the things that you know, right? And then there are these things that they're unknown, but you know they're there. You just don't know what they are. So, and these are things that, like the possibility that the other side may get sick, right? There's that possibility that exists, or the possibility that the counterpart may leave, right? These are known unknowns. They are like poker wild cards. They call them poker wild cards, right? When you're playing poker and you're playing with wild cards, if you don't have them in, you just don't know who has them, right? So that's the other thing. So you got the knowns, then you got the known knowns, like known unknowns. Chris calls them most important things. He says the most important things are the things we don't know that we don't know, right? Pieces of information we've never imagined, but that will be game-changing if uncovered. Maybe our counterpart wants the deal to fall apart because he's leaving for a competitor. Like, that's an unknown. You would have never imagined that would have existed. But that's an example of a black swan, an unknown unknown. That's a black swan, right? So then he jumps into uncovering those. And what he says is, when bits and pieces of a case don't add up, it's usually because our frames of reference are off. They will never add up unless we break free of our expectations. We have to see every case as new. We must let what we know, our known knowns, guide us, but not blind us as to what we don't know. We must remain flexible and adaptable to any situation. We must always retain a beginner's mind, and we must never overvalue our experience or undervalue the informational and emotional realities served up moment by moment in whatever situation we face. So what Chris is saying is this, and I was having this conversation earlier today with one of my agents. Just like he says, we have to let our known knowns guide us, but we can't let them blind us. And what we tend to do is, when we go into some type of engagement, a negotiation, a business meeting, we can take our known knowns, our preconceived notions based off of experiences, and guess what? What we know could 100% be accurate. We could definitely, I mean, there's definitely a strong chance that what we think we know could be right. But guess what? It ain't 100%. And because it's not 100%, we can't allow that to blind us. We still got to approach every case, every situation as if it's new. As he calls it, the beginner's mind frame. You got to come to it as if it's the first thing, your first level of experience. Because if not, it can blind you. And the worst position that you can be in is blind, and that's how you get caught off guard, or you get surprised. Let me tell you the surprise that we hate seeing in real estate. The deal busting out right before you get to closing. And you're like, I don't know what happened, right? I mean, I've experienced this, and it is cemented in my heart when I had a client and I was coming from another meeting and I was going to just swing by, shake hands, deal was already done. But when I showed up, it was like Hiroshima, they dropped the atomic bomb, boom, blown up in my face, hydrogen bomb. How that thing died on the day of closing and what I walked into. Well, if I'd have spent time identifying unknowns and applying the techniques and strategies that Chris talks about here, it wouldn't have been as devastating as it ended up being. So very key that you understand what baggage, Jim Camp calls it baggage, what baggage you're bringing to the table in this, okay? Now, Chris says an over-reliance on known knowns, it can shackle a negotiator, right, to assumptions. Assumptions are bad. They can prevent you from hearing and seeing the situation, all that it presents. It can do that. Well, if that's the case, then maybe a enhanced receptivity to the unknown unknowns can free the negotiator to see and hear things that can produce dramatic breakthroughs, right? So what he says here is that, well, if what we're saying is that known knowns and an over-reliance of that can shackle you, then a receptivity to or an awareness to unknown unknowns can be a breakthrough in the situation, right? So that's why Chris says identifying black swans in the situation, right? So he talks about hypothesizing that in every negotiation, each side has at least 3 black swans, 3 pieces of information that, were they to be discovered, would change everything. So since that's the case, when you go into it and you go into it eyes wide open, you should be looking for, intentionally looking for these black swans, eyes wide open. Now, guess what? If you go into it without the expectation that they exist, Chris is saying that each side has at least 3. That means you have 3 and they have 3. But if you're going into it with the intention that they're there and you're looking for them, guess what happens? You typically find them. It's just like when, I know we've all probably experienced this. You go and buy a new car, and then all of a sudden you start seeing the kind of car you had never seen it before, never paid no attention to it before, but now the car that you got, you see it everywhere, right? Is it that it just magically appeared and now the car is on the road when it previously wasn't? Absolutely not. It's just now you're awakened to this car and you can see it. So it's the same thing with the black swan. Once you awaken yourself up to it, then you'll be able to identify them. But you got to wake yourself up to it. All right? So by definition, we do not know what we don't know. That's why finding and understanding black swans requires a change of mindset. You have to open up your established pathways and embrace more intuitive and nuanced ways of listening. Right? And guess what? We're in chapter 10. So Chris starts the book with listening. Remember, that was the first thing that we hit. We said it was the foundation of everything. And then he ends it. Now he's ending it with listening because it's the foundation. So now, guess what? To become a great negotiator, what we're really saying is you have to become a great listener. If you're going to become a person of great influence, a person of great persuasion, you're going to have to become a person of great listening, right? And most of us, we are very, 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 very bad at listening. You see how many berries that I put in there? Very bad at it. Very, very bad at it. And guess what? You don't begin to realize how bad people are at listening until you begin working on yourself to become a good listener. Then you'll realize how bad people are at listening, right? They hear, but they don't listen, right? And so then you hit this next phase of being frustrated, making sure that you don't become frustrated because people are so bad at listening. But that's the reality. That's the truth. So if you're going to be effective in all of these different areas, you got to become a good listener. All right, so Chris says it is vital to people of all walks of life, from negotiators to inventors to marketers, What you don't know can kill you or your deal, but to find it out, right? So what you don't know can kill you or can kill the deal, but to find it out is incredibly difficult. Why? Why is it so difficult to find out what you don't know in the deal? Reason is because the most basic challenge is that people don't know the questions to ask the customer, user, the counterpart. They don't know the questions to ask, right? And the reality is, and 16 years in this business, many instances like the one that I described earlier, I agree with, I see it, I get it now. Unless correctly interrogated, most people aren't able. It's not that they don't want to, they're not able. They don't have the ability to articulate the information you want. They're not able to do it. So that's why becoming skilled, especially in calibrated questions, and pressing past fear and doubt, which is something else that he talks about in this chapter, is paramount for you to be able to get the kind of results that you want in a negotiation in your business, because most people left to their own devices are not able, they don't have the capability to give you the information that you want and or need. So, could I have avoided that big World War II surprise, atomic bomb surprise? Absolutely I could have, if I would have interrogated, understood the situation for what it was, and asked the right questions. If I'd have did that, but I didn't, and I was left to reap the results that came from it. So the problem is that conventional questioning and research techniques are designed to confirm known knowns and reduce uncertainty. They don't dig into the unknown. Well, why is that? Because that's where people are comfortable. They're comfortable in verifying what they already know. Unknown, that's a scary place. Like, nobody wants to go into the unknown. It's scary. So that's why most people stay in that surface area. They stay on that surface level, and they don't dig deep. They don't go into anything past what they already perceive to know. And that's a very, very vulnerable place, risky place to be, especially in a negotiation. Unknown unknowns are like this. They're like your counterpart might tell you it's a lovely plot of land, but they don't mention that it's also a Superfund site, right? So that's an unknown. Now, you would have not known to ask that question. Why would you ask that? But you got to unearth it, right? So that's an example. Another example is, are the neighbors noisy? Well, everyone makes a bit of noise, don't they, right? That's how they respond. When the actual fact is that the heavy metal band practices there nightly. So there are these unknowns that exist, but you don't know what you don't know. But that's just a couple of examples of what that may look like. Right? So the person that is best able to unearth, adapt to, and exploit the unknowns, that's the one that's going to come out on top. That's the person. That's the guy. Right? So to uncover these unknowns, we must interrogate our world. We must put a call and intensely listen to the response, ask lots of questions, read nonverbal clues, and always voice your observations with your counterpart. I know that was a lot. I'm going to say it again. To uncover the unknowns, right? The black swans. You must interrogate, right? You must put out a call, ask questions, interrogate, and intensely, I love him using that word, intensely listen to the response. It's imperative. Ask lots of questions. Read nonverbal clues. It's all the intuition. You got to go into the intuitive measures of this. If you're ever going to get these, if you're ever going to unearth these things that are detrimental to the transaction, then you got to do this stuff that he's saying. Nonverbal clues, voice your observations, summary, labeling, or voicing your observations. Got to communicate. That's it. If you would take everything that he just said and you wrap it up, you got to communicate. You got to become a great communicator. Because listening is just an area of communication, right? Knowing the right questions, asking the right questions, A lot of the techniques that he's talking about, labeling, summary, tactical empathy, is communication. It's you communicating on a deeper level, using all the senses that you have access to communicate. Your verbal, your mouth, which is the one that most of us just use, is that. But not only using your mouth, you're using your ears, you're using your eyes, right? You're using your smell, you're using your hands, right? You're using your body. All of that is used. Have you ever thought about that? That to be a great communicator, you have to use all 5 of your senses. When most of us, this is the only one we use for whatever we feel like it puts us in a power position when we talking. We making everybody listen to us. This is the one we use. We don't use the rest of them. But if you're gonna be great, you got to tap into all of your senses. All right. So, like I said, this one was heavy, and we are not going to have time to get through all of it. So again, I highly encourage you, go to the notes. He talks about leverage and different types of leverage, negative leverage, and normative leverage. I'm going to skip that. So that's part for you to go back to and read on your own. He also talks about knowing your counterpart's religion, which is an area of normative leverage. He talks about that. I'm going to skip that. Oh, I think this is good. Well, so one of the things that he talks about is the similarity principle. So we'll talk about that. And we know a little bit about this, but I want to dig a little deeper into it. What he says is research by social scientists has confirmed something that effective negotiators have known for ages, namely that we trust people more when we view them as being similar or familiar. And you guys probably already know that. That's why mirroring. I know, Margaret, you mentioned the concept of mirroring, where you're sitting in front of somebody. I know we talked about it from a word standpoint, but using your body, doing what they do, it creates this sense of familiarity, which is designed to build rapport. Okay, so we've heard that before. We've also heard that people trust those who are in their in-group. So belonging is a primal instinct. If you're a part of the coaching, you know, we talked about the 6 human needs, right? And one of the 6 human needs, 6 primal fundamental needs of a human is love and connection. Well, that's the same thing that Chris is saying here. The reason the whole similarity principle works is because we have a primal instinct of belonging, primal need of connection. So you can trigger that instinct, that sense that, oh, we see the world the same way. Then you immediately, he says, immediately gain influence. And that's what we're talking about, influence, persuasion, influence. When our counterpart displays attitudes, beliefs, ideas, even modes of dress that are similar to our own, we tend to like and trust them more. Similarities as shallow as club memberships or college alumni status increases rapport. So what are you saying, Mike? We go back to listening. We go back to getting into the adversary's world. As you're listening and you're getting into their world, that's how you're going to be able to identify these similar areas that you can exploit. Again, it's why listening is so important. If you're doing all the talking, you're losing, right? The person that is in control is the person that's listening intensely. Well, this is another area, that similarity principle, you being able to execute on that is important. All right, he also goes into the power of hopes and dreams. And this is how he explains it. He says, once you know your counterpart's religion and you can visualize what he truly wants out of life. And when he mentions religion, he's not saying, you know, from a standpoint of God, spirituality, things like that. He's talking about worldview. So once you know the counterpart's worldview and you can visualize what they want out of life, you can employ aspirations as a way to get them to follow you. Again, influence, right? Utilizing, understanding hopes and dreams and aspirations of an individual and then leveraging them and exploiting them, it creates influence and persuasion, right? He says every engineer, every executive, every child, all of us want to believe we are capable of the extraordinary, period. We all want to believe that. And if you're coming in as that vehicle that's providing, that's feeding that, you're going to get people to run through walls for you. As children, you know, relate to when we were kids, as children, our daydreams feature ourselves as primary players in great moments. An actor winning an Oscar, an athlete hitting the game-winning shot. But as we grow older, our parents, teachers, friends, they talk more of what we can't and shouldn't do than what is possible, and we begin to lose faith. So that's what happens, right? I get the most excitement from watching my 7 and my 8-year-old run around the house believing that they are invincible, because they believe it. But when I tell you, it warms my heart to see it, because guess what? I spent most of my day convincing others that have drank the Kool-Aid and feel like they can't do something or won't do something or they have inadequacies. When in reality, that's not the case, right? We do need to go back and tap into when we was kids, before we got all the weight of everybody's expectations and aspirations and perceived failures and all this stuff. Go back to that naivety that we had as kids, because that's beautiful. That's a beautiful state to be in, and I promise you, you make things move. And if you can trigger that in somebody else, it'll greatly enhance how you're able to maneuver them, right? So if someone displays a passion for what we've always wanted and conveys a purposeful plan of how to get there, we allow our perceptions of what's possible to change. We're all hungry for a map to joy, and when someone is courageous enough to draw it for us, we naturally, he says naturally, we naturally follow. So when you ascertain your counterpart's unattained goals, again, that comes from questions, listening. That's the only way you're going to get it. When you ascertain that, you invoke your own power and followability by expressing passion for their goals and for their ability to achieve them. Right? So again, it's another way to put you there. He mentions an owner of a basketball team and a hockey team, professional team, who always spoke of immortal moments, the immortal moments in sports that people will tell their grandchildren about. I mean, who doesn't want to come to an agreement with someone who is going to make them immortal? That you got to be the beacon of that. You got to exude that to your counterpart. All right. So now he also talks about reason. Like there's another study, research studies that, and this was eye-opening to me. I don't know about you guys. So I'm actually going to read it verbatim. He said, research studies have shown that people respond favorably to requests made in reasonable tone of voice and followed with the because reason, right? This study was done in the 1970s. It was a Harvard psychology professor and her colleagues. What they did was they approached people waiting for copy machines and asked if they could cut the line. Sometimes they gave a reason, sometimes they didn't. What they found was crazy. Without her giving a reason, 60% let her cut. But when she did give one, more than 90% let them cut. And it didn't matter if the reason made sense. Like they use reasons like, excuse me, I have pages, may I cut the line? Or may I cut the line because I have to make copies? So it didn't even matter what the reason was. Because they gave a reason, people responded positively to the framework. So what does that say? Especially in negotiations. When you're going to ask for something, all you got to do is give them a reason, right? As long as you give them a reason of why you're asking to do something or why you're doing something, it's going to turn out positively. And guess what? I've always implemented that, right? I've always felt like I can ask for anything as long as I give a reason. Like, I always felt like that was a part of good communication, that you should communicate your reasons for what you're doing or why you're doing something to my clients, to people that we're doing business with. I always felt like it was needed, and I guess because it always worked. But now I understand why. I understand the power of the reason. And now I know it doesn't even matter what the reason is. Just the fact that you're giving somebody a reason. And a lot of it, I bet, probably just has to do with respect. That as long as people feel respected, then they're willing to, then it works. Okay? All right, let me see. Man, we're running out of time here. So I'm just going to go through and see if there's anything else that I'm trying to determine if I should break this thing down into another week. What y'all think? Y'all think I should break it and come back next week and do it? The rest of it?
It's pretty wordy, and I think I need another week to get it. But you said you skipped a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I did. I did skip a lot of stuff. And this one, I mean, as I go through this chapter, I think all of the chapters were great. But I really do believe, like, this one is the best chapter. Like, this one has the most to offer. But I don't want to just be doing another week. Like, I want to feel like I'm useful and impactful. So, I mean, do you feel like you're getting something out of this, Margaret?
Yes, and it's a little different, it seems like, from the rest of the chapters, because it's like more, like, I have to process. So it's like, okay, we have an hour. It's like,
right. This may not work. All right, so
and you got a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I'm gonna do that, man. I think I'm you know, as I think about it, yeah, I want to say that it's a 10-part series, but look, if it's got to be an 11-part series, we should just make it an 11-part series. I do believe that it's a good chapter, and I think it does need to take 2 weeks to really hash it out and dig into it. So I'm gonna make the executive decision with the help of Margaret Harrison. Thank you so much for helping me. Matter of fact, we're gonna pull Latanya in on this. Latanya. Latanya muted herself.
She asked a question. It's called Never Split the Difference.
Oh, she asked the name of the book?
By Chris Voss. Yeah.
Wait, say that again, Margaret?
Maybe I can put it in the chat.
It's called You Can See It by Chris Voss. Hey, Jess, you hand me that book? Yeah, I'm gonna show you the book. All right. Thank you. This is the book, Latanya, right here. Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. Yeah, there we go. All right. So, Latanya, can you hear me? All right, how do you feel about, we're considering splitting this up and doing this, talking about this one again next week. How did you feel about today's session? Why are you shaking your head no?
I didn't understand it that well.
Yeah, well, I think it makes sense to you because you haven't looked at any of the other episodes.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you're coming in to chapter 10. Yeah, you're coming into chapter 10, but you ain't read the first 9 chapters.
Oh, okay. That's why I asked the name of the book.
Yeah. Right. But look, so if you go to our YouTube channel, and look at episodes, I think if you start with episode 127 for our Create Your New Life, our YouTube channel, episodes 127 to today's episode, that's when we began. So if you want to get caught up, if you want to binge it, right? Sometimes we binge watch stuff. You know, if you want to binge it by next week, I'm pretty sure at that point you'll understand what all of this is about, what we've been talking about. So I'm gonna come back next week and spend some more time in chapter 10, and then we'll close it out the following week. All right? Sign, seal, and deliver. Amen. Amen. Yeah. All right. So, next week. All right. So I already talked about what we're gonna do next week. Margaret, Latanya, do y'all have any questions or any real estate questions, coaching, anything that y'all want to express? It says no. What about you, Margaret? Nothing.
No.
So Margaret say nothing. All right. Awesome. All right. So before we shut it down, quick recap of what everybody has access to. All right. So remember, continuing education, elective credit, about partaking in our Create Your New Life every week or whenever we have them. So you have access to that by doing those 4 things. As I said before, if you ever, if you hear something that you liked, if you hear something that really stood out to you, you want to learn more, like if you're with a brokerage and you feel like you're just not getting the nurturing, you're not getting the understanding, you're not getting the accessibility, right? You're not getting the one-on-one that you know that if you were in the right environment, that the sky's the limit. Go ahead and click on that link. Let's schedule a one-on-one so you can learn more about the better options that we are offering. And then again, remember, a couple of times a week, we are posting great content. One of the things that we do right after we do our filming for the Create Your New Life is we do our mastermind through tough times. So we're going to be doing that on Facebook Live, and we funnel that through our Facebook business page. So like that page, you get notified. But again, whenever I post new videos, information, great information on LinkedIn, Twitter, like that information that I got from about the #1 broker in Texas, and I'm going to be posting some information about that on tomorrow, actually, on LinkedIn. So, you know, there's great content that's constantly going out. So subscribe, like, follow, learn, and share with those who can use it. With that being said, we are about to wrap it up.
Shall we begin?
No, because we got another one in the book. Yes, we did today. Our Create Your New Life Real Estate. We started the conversation about creating breakthroughs, revealing unknown unknowns, but it was just too much weight to try to pack it into one session. So we got to break it into a part 2. So next week we're going to be doing part 2, chapter 10. Thanks a lot, Chris, for making that thing so jam-packed. But we talked about our desire to be the #1 real estate firm in the state, a big goal, and we're going to achieve it. And we looked at our Create Your New Life, and Margaret told us again about this great webinar that's coming up in the middle of May. With that being said, I am your host, broker, CEO, realtor plus business coach, Michael G. Davis. We got another one in the book, coaching you into the cosmos. It's time to take off. Ain't that right, Margaret? We'll talk later.